feel like it's been a actually no, it's only been 2 days since I streamed like this, but at the same time it wasn't working, so I just rage quit and then streamed the other way. So um I guess it's been a week then, right, since I've done this kind of stream. And yeah, we're gonna return to um Eckhart Tolle. We haven't talked about Eckhart Tolle in a very long time. I've definitely mentioned him in the videos I've made, like the list videos of like certain kind of, oh, if you want to learn how to master your mind, read this. Like very generically, those are the kind of titles that I've mentioned him in. But specifically, I haven't gone over to his lectures, interviews, whatever you want to call these, in a very long time. So we're gonna see if he holds up. We're gonna see if, I still am into the things he's saying versus, maybe I don't resonate with it as much because the more I read, the more I kind of um, reference different people, and different people stick out to me, and certain people remain. Certain people, people like Jung. Like Jung was really on to a few key topics that I think he said better than other people, whereas other names, they kind of just fell out of favor. I don't really talk about Alan Watts anymore. He doesn't really inspire me the way he used to. I would rather talk about someone like Gurdjieff or someone like Uspensky, who I feel like hits the truth at a deeper level. And it's just a natural stage of evolution. It's just a natural stage of, finding what you like, what you don't like, finding the messaging and the packaging that you enjoy the most. But yeah, this first video we have, this is the Grim. I think that's how you say it. I love their videos. They're the whole shtick they have going is so funny that it's like this old Russian mobster. Maybe he is because he has all these tattoos, but he talks about books, and a lot of the times he's like talking about like this video is six silenced books and why you need to read them before 2030. There's no such thing as a silenced book if you're gonna like, I promise you all of these books you can get on Amazon. It's so funny, like the marketing. It's like, oh, this book is banned, but it's widely available and millions of people have it. Maybe there was a day and age where it was banned, and maybe that's what people are saying, but there's a lot of books that weren't really banned for like bad reasons, like maybe they were on, a certain list that don't show this in school, don't do this, don't do that, and that can happen for a bunch of reasons. I know James Joyce really struggled to publish Ulysses for a very long time. Is my chat members only right now? Let me just make sure that's off. Because it's saying, let me check on my phone. Okay, I don't want it that way. Wonder how I can fix this. Oh, okay, I can definitely. No, it's only letting me fix the monetization. That sucks. Okay, wait. Oh no, I can fix it. Okay, that's my bad. Okay. Everyone should be able to talk? What's up, just one human girl? Yeah, I just noticed that, and I wasn't. Yeah, good thing I saw it in the corner of my screen because I was like, I would have just not known, and I don't even know why I had that on. What's up? Every time you say guess what, it's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So I don't even know if I want to ask that. I don't even know if that's like something I want to get the answer to. Like very rarely is it something I ever wanted to know. But anyway, we can start.
Bratan, let's do a battle of knowledge. You are a smart.
Hold on, the output is You saw a fox, they let you pet it, and then it ran off with your Red Bull. Like, was it an empty can or was it a full can? Okay. I have no idea why the audio was off, but it's a loaded question. Guess what is like answering a phone call with no caller ID? Yeah, you got it right. That's the perfect way to explain. Anytime anybody says, guess what, you probably don't want to. I mean, it's cool if Fox let you pet them, though.
Guy and
Let me know if this is too loud.
read a lot of books. You give me three books that most people have never heard of. Books that have opened your eyes. And you give me the three essential thoughts of each book. Then I will tell you how wide your eyes are open.
Okay, challenge accepted. I'll do the same with you.
I love I like they do it as like half skits, like half informative. Like I wish I had the patience to do something like this. I don't know what that says.
First book, The Manufacture of Consent. Edward Herman and Norm
Th- I was always wondering why this book was able to be published, and now it makes sense because it's so accurate, and you're like, how is somebody able to expose the system and the corruption that is in the media so blatantly and in such a popular fashion and not face, Julian Assange level persecution? And then you find out the guy was on Epstein's island, so it makes sense.
Chomsky. Number one, media is neutral. It shapes what you believe, what you fear, and who you obey.
Most of the book, it's focused on like Clinton signed some act in the 90s, basically making it so that the media industry could basically consolidate into, it used to be like 90 companies and now it was like six after that. And I don't know, it's probably even less now. And then you have BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard owning interest in all of those publicly traded companies. So it's even like it's even closer to one. Interesting book. Um, a lot of the stuff's just intuitive, and it'll just really confirm stuff that you already suspected and you were feeling crazy your entire life for believing. But then you read it and you're like, yeah, it makes sense. You have two keyboards. You use one to talk to your aunt. She's Russian. Oh, okay.
Number two, public consent is manufactured by repeating narratives, framing
Gustav Le Bon said he attributed this quote to Napoleon. Essentially, the quote is, "If you want somebody to believe it, repeat something enough times." Which, if you've ever watched mainstream media or even like independent media, think of the phrases, think of the sentiments, think of the words that are repeated time and time again, and it's just hypnosis. That's really what it is. It's just implanting an idea into your subconscious. Think of where your opinions come from. Most of our opinions don't really come from ourselves. It comes from the people around us, the things we hear, the things we learned in school, and they're just implicitly given to us. So if you take advantage of this fact, then you can really do some damage onto the ideas of a people. And if you read Edward Bernays' propaganda, you'll get all these ideas in propaganda as well. But essentially, Bernays believed that people were too stupid to govern themselves. So, oh, Edward Bernays is also Sigmund Freud's nephew as well. So, using Freudian psychology to basically hijack the minds of people. But Bernays really his whole thing was people are too stupid to do the research for themselves. So we're going to give them the opinions and the ideas that are going to create a well-functioning democracy. Doesn't that sound like democracy to you? But anyway, just people will you'll just lose people when you start talking about this stuff. So it's not even
problems
important.
and silencing alternatives.
Oh, very important thought. How do we get out?
With number three, awareness of this control is the first step to mental freedom. Once you see it, you stop reacting automatically.
That's not even really true. Most people know the media is bullshit, and then they find another media source that's also just as biased, but in a different way. Think of the people that say fake news, and then they go to an even faker news website. Like it's just You're not gonna you're not gonna get genuine coverage on anything. You just have to be able to discern for yourself. That's the real truth with these things is that you have to break down the stories to the actual narrative and what's actually important. You kind of have to aggregate the stuff, look at different sources, different sites, take a step back, don't get emotional, don't get attached to things. But it's not enough to just recognize this fact because I see so many people that will agree with me that the media is bullshit, but then will continue to go to sources that are just as bad. And it's a very frustrating thing to try to get across, and that's why I'm getting somewhat animated in my body language, but I swear I deal with this issue on a daily basis trying to explain stuff to people.
Good choice, Grim. The smart way to keep people passive at the medium is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow.
There was a really interesting point that Chomsky made in this as well, is that in America there's freedom of speech, and it's really easy to discuss a hand. Wow, I fused a lot of words there. It's really easy to discuss a handful of issues. Why am I slurring my words? Was I drinking or something? I don't even know. But you can discuss like three, four issues, and the moment that you break free from those three or four issues, people look at you like you have two heads. And there's kind of like this unspoken rule that most of the coverage is going to be on, think of the things that are commonly pushed, think of the things that are commonly talked about. Immigration is a huge one, or the economy, or this, or that, or oil prices. Like just these phrases that we can argue about all day, but don't really go to fix the problems because these problems are symptoms of much larger issues that will never begin to be addressed because there's no discussion that goes on about them. It's just an endless cycle of nonsense and just don't pay attention to it. There's no point.
Very lively debate within that spectrum. Noam Chomsky.
Brilliant. Here's my second book, Prometheus Rising, Robert.
Really, really good book. I've actually been going through, well, I haven't been. I did the first two chapters of this book in videos where I covered the main points of it. I got to get back to it, but it's just one of those things where I'll start going through chapters of the book and I'll just get, not that I get bored with it, but I'll just forget about it for a few days and then a few days becomes a few weeks. But I'll definitely get back into explaining this book because essentially what Prometheus Rising is about breaking the script, breaking the narrative, understanding that you have a certain perspective that goes to shade the way in which you see the world. There's this phrase he repeats time and time again throughout this work: what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. Meaning, what you think about the world, your mind will bend over backwards to see it from that lens. So if you are one of the Bible thumpers, you're going to go, the devil did this, the devil did that. Or if you're agnostic or if you're an atheist, you're going to go, well, that was just bad luck. It's it's that you're going to see the world through that perspective in which you hold, and to understand your perspective and understand, where you might go wrong, understand where you might be biased, because if you can understand where you might go wrong, then you can correct that behavior. And it's really interesting. Robert Anton Wilson, I think, is one of those authors that I don't really know what I've learned from him, but I know he made me question a lot of stuff, which is honestly more important than saying, well, I learned this idea from this person. No, no. He didn't teach me what to think, he taught me how to think. That sort of way of approaching this guy. Very, very interesting author. He also wrote the Illuminatus trilogy, which is I I don't know if I like this book or not. It's so weird. It's so out there. It's so difficult to read. It's basically written from a schizophrenic guy's perspective, and it kind of blurs the line of a dream and what's real, what's not. Are these people lying to the protagonist? Is this even real at all? Is this just purely a dream? Like, it really does that. And in some ways, it's really fun. In other ways, it's really frustrating. But it's one of those books you get through and you're like, yeah, it's very different. So he's a good author.
Robert Anton Wilson. Number one, the world you see isn't reality. It's a map created by your nervous system.
He also uses this Alfred Krajewski phrase, the map is not the territory. meaning that our model of the universe is not precise, but we treat it as such, and that leads to a gap in what we think is and what actually is, and that's why so many people struggle with life.
Your brain is divided into circuits. They determine how you handle survival, status, logic, and spirituality.
This circuits, just think of stages of development, stages of maturity, stages of life, and certain people are stuck in certain phases of life. Certain people never grow out of their childlike need to destroy the world around them. Think of people in power, think of people in government. Like it's just you're stuck in the second stage of Freudian development. Wilson uses Timothy Leary's circuits, which if you know anything about Timothy Leary, very out there guy, very interesting. But again, it's just one of those things that I don't know how much of it I agree with, but it's a fun book to read and it's a fun book to question your beliefs with.
Number two, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves.
Okay, so I just explained this. I want to see what he says though.
If you believe the world is a hostile place, your mind will filter out every act of kindness and highlight every threat to prove you're right.
Like you can give an optimist and a pessimist the same circumstances, and the pessimist will keep being a pessimist, the optimist will keep being an optimist. I want you to understand that key fact and choose to be an optimist.
Number three, true intelligence is the ability to rewire yourself.
How?
Meta programming. You stop being a reactive machine and start choosing which.
He ripped this straight from Gurdjieff, by the way. He mentions Gurdjieff all the time, and I didn't know exactly where he got that stuff from, but I was really interested in it. And it's only recently that I discovered that a lot of those ideas come from
reality you
the
build.
fourth way.
It's a brilliant book, but he reduces the brain, the spirit, to the mechanics of a computer.
Okay, might be true. Maybe you'll like my third book then.
And that's the thing about Robert Anton Wilson too, is he also admits that his model isn't correct and it leaves room for development and room for expansion. And that's probably the most interesting aspect about him is that he's honest and he's willing to be wrong. He's willing to say something that he might regret in the future, but he doesn't have that conviction where he needs to defend himself to the extreme degrees. He doesn't need to prove to you that he's smart. He doesn't need to do anything. He's just saying what he thinks is right at the time, and if you show him a better way, he will listen to you. This is a book that I had on my desk for like an entire year. My roommate gave it to me, and I just read it, and I feel so bad. I still need to pick it up. I was like, I don't know what it is about. Like, I don't know. I just like the people that have told me this book is really good, aside from my roommate, like I just don't really think are that interesting. So for that reason, I haven't picked it up. But I'm guessing I know what it's about because of the title. And to me, it's going to be Man's Search for Meaning or Jung's sort of works.
Denial of death, Ernest Beckham. Number one, we don't just want to succeed, we want to be eternal. Because humans are driven most by the fear of death. That's why we want to create things that outlast us. Children.
So think of think of like an animal. How do they live on forever? Well, they continue to survive and they reproduce. Human beings are a little different because we have the idea of status, the idea of if you're famous or if you leave a mark in some way, then you'll be remembered after your death. And there's all this like weird celebrity worship that comes through this because what is celebrity worship? It's that person projecting themselves into that person's shoes. Like, what do you like about that person? You like that they're worshipped. You want to be worshipped like that yourself. It's very sad when you think about like people that like faint when they see a Taylor Swift because that's just pure envy of Taylor Swift in her position. But anyway, it's not bad to be a fan of somebody. It's not bad to like somebody, but it's bad when it's that level of like when you're physically passing out from it. Like I would question a lot of things, but again, if you're physically passing out, you're not going to listen to anything I say. So it is what it is. What's up, I Aiza Aiza? Let me know how you say your name. Sorry, I I was trying to read it. And I'm like I'm not even gonna get it even close to right. So I apologize, but I'm good. How are you?
Art, money, companies, just so we don't feel.
Think of like Bezos. Think of Elon. Like these dudes have already like done everything they can in this world, but they need to keep going. And it's just it's so like corny to me. What else do you need? Like what else could you possibly gain? Like every time Elon Musk goes on Twitter, he just makes people more angry at him. You know, every time Bezos does something in the business world, he just wow, you made more money. Like you already have more money than you could ever even spend. Like, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me why anybody would subject to themselves to that high stakes and high level of pressure. Why would you not just fade into the background and kind of just live your life and relax and move into a different sphere of life instead of existing in the business sphere? Because it's so sad to do this exact same thing your entire life. And what is running a business? What is running a company? It's just solving the same problems time and time again. You know, subjecting yourself to the shareholders, questioning your every move and everything you say publicly. It's just, I just, I don't envy them. Pronounced Isa. Did I say that right that time? Isa, that's easy. I'll remember that.
Feel like food for worms. Number two, we hate those with different beliefs because if their story is right, ours might be a lie. And if
Oh, that's an interesting way of saying it.
food for
We're gonna
worms.
go back.
Number two, we hate those with different beliefs because if their story is right, ours might be a lie.
That makes some okay. I like the way you said that. That's a good way of putting
And
it.
if our story is a lie, we are vulnerable to death again. Number three, we are
Think of how much of religion is focused on the afterlife. Like it's so silly to me that like why are you sacrificing now for the sake of the future? Why are we subjecting ourselves to pain and torture for the sake of the afterlife? Whereas, you know, why don't you just become a good person? Why don't you use your religion to make yourself into a good person and through your example make the world a better place? Like it's so weird to me how so much of the focus is not on enlightenment but on salvation. It's so I don't know if I can even explain what I'm trying to explain, but it's so weird how much focus people put on the afterlife section of religion, and it purely is just a cope of I'm afraid to die. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, in some ways I'm afraid to die too, but in certain moments I'm not, like right now.
obsess over small daily dramas only to distract ourselves from the giant reality of our own end, the Grim Reaper, death.
Man is a creator who's also a worm. That's from that book?
Yep, that's exactly the dilemma that humans suffer from. We are powerful, but not more powerful than death.
Good choices, brata.
And the easiest way to cope with death is to understand that death is the only thing that gives life meaning. And I know that if you haven't heard me say this, it's not going to make sense at first, but the more you think about it, the more it really is the truth in that if you didn't die, then there's no reason for you to do anything. If you lived forever, then you could do it in 1,000 years. If there was no mortality for you to face, then you would never have to chase your dreams. You would never have to chase your goals. It's the fact that one day your time ends that gives any sense of meaning, any sense of urgency, any sense of anxiety that I have to do it before it's too late. And without that little force pushing you in the right direction, you wouldn't do anything because human nature is like water. It's find the easiest path. It's find the path of least resistance. And it's the resistance that our own mortality gives us that drives humanity to thrive and become something more than what it is right now.
Media, mind hacking, and death. Most people forget that last one.
Most Grims.
Here is maybe a blind spot. You forgot money, the creature of Jekyll Island. Money and spirituality are the Suki's biggest secret weapons.
This book's about the Federal Reserve. If just think about the Federal Reserve for 2 seconds and it makes no sense.
Point taken.
That's
Now, how about your 3 books?
Number one, Marshall McLuhan. The medium is the message. First essential
Mm, I've heard that saying, but I don't know this book.
point. The medium itself shapes your brain, not the content of the medium.
People say money's just a medium. What matters is how I spend it, right? Where social media is just a tool, what matters is what I use it for, what matters is what I watch.
Marshall McLuhan would say they are stupid and naive.
So the content you watch on your phone doesn't matter. The fact that you are staring at a phone is what's actually changing you. The tech itself is the message, not the story it tells.
Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it, and it reminds me of this idea. It's you actually make your enemy stronger when you oppose them, is the idea I'm trying to get across. I was thinking of a saying and I couldn't remember it, but without me shouting against you, you don't have to shout louder. But if I am your enemy and if I'm in your face and if I'm, trying to rile you all up and I'm trying to oppose you and denounce you and say all these things, well, in order for you to prove your point, in order for you to get your message across, you have to be even more boisterous, even more angry, even more aggressive. And in fact, me opposing you strengthens your side because now it gives other people a reason to join in as well.
The medium is the message. The technology, the medium, is more influential on your brain than the content of the medium. But here is another interesting aspect from the book. Your tools are just extra body parts. The wheel is an extra foot. The book is an extra eye. The internet is a new nervous system.
That's an interesting way of putting it. And I forget who said this, but somebody said something along the lines of like, if you really think about it, like reading and writing is magic because it's storing information outside your brain. And like, you can put more information into a library than you could ever hope to put into just your head. Like even if we think about like the old bards who were able to sing the Odyssey off of memory, they may have known thousands of songs, but you can put millions of stories and songs and poems and everything under the sun into a book. Um, and the internet's even more. It's fascinating. I feel like the problem with the internet as well, though, or the problem with the library is that the more information you have, the more paralyzed you are by how many choices you have. Like, really, what I'm trying to say is like, have you ever been on Netflix and you keep seeing things that you kind of want to watch, but nothing you really want to watch? So you end up scrolling for like 10 minutes, and it's like we almost have too much choice now. We almost have too many options now. Like, there's a lot of books I read, and I'm like, well, I want to read this, I want to read this, I want to read this. Like, I'm already thinking about the next book I'm reading instead of reading the book I'm reading right now. And it's this weird kind of thing that occurs. Whereas if I just spent my entire life reading Dante, I think I would know just as much, if not more, simply by studying the same work over and over and over again.
It makes the old body part die. When you use a tool, you don't just use it, you become it. Your brain replaces itself to fit.
I hate to give him credit, but Elon said something interesting. He was like, people that are opposed to Neuralink, like your phone is already augmented. Um, it's basically you interfacing with AI already. It's just not that quick. And when he said it that way, and I was like, that's a really good point. I hate transhumanism. I think it's some of the stupidest stuff ever. I think if human beings are going to evolve, it's going to be through consciousness, not through artificial means. But who am I?
The machine. And Marshall McLuhan's third point, we are becoming a global tribe. We used to be private and logical because of books. Now electronic media is making us tribal again. Everyone is too close.
I was thinking about this back in the day that like there used to be like musicians that could go to like the local bar and like have a pretty good living, but now instead of that, like that role has kind of been taken by like the large distributors. You have the Taylor Swifts, so you have the God, I don't even know artists. I don't listen to anything that's like not classical music now. I can't even think of another artist, but think like you have these large bands, these large singers that kind of take that place and kind of take that role out of society. It's really interesting to think that like back in the day there was this oral tradition that was passed down by these local bards and these local singers and poets, and that there was a much more decentralized interface with art, whereas now it's just standardized and pushed out and out and out, and we're much farther away from creativity than we used to be, is what I'm trying to say.
knows. And we are fighting because we can't look away. Instant bullshit drama.
Politics have become exactly this.
You are reading my mind. Second book, Politics. Aristotle. Everybody
Aristotle bores me so much. I hate to say it. Like, I hopefully will read him one day, but like I'm dreading it. Like, he makes some interesting points, but I don't care. It's all just like, if you know anything about me, I don't care about what makes the world go round, what makes the systems of the world work. That's not interesting to me. Like that's things you can just intuitively understand. I'm interested in the mysteries, the secrets, the esoteric, and not the exoteric.
talks about politics. Nobody talks about this brilliant silenced book. Number one, true freedom is not obedience to rulers. It's participation in civic life. Number two, participation in civic life.
Freedom is participation in civic life. Yeah, I guess you could say that because if you think about it, the things that we don't like only allowed because we allow them to. But if people were actually participating, if people actually made their voice heard, then people wouldn't be able to get away with starting random wars and, doing stupid things with money that are paid in taxes and robbing the robbing the Social Security and all the infrastructure and everything that makes society work. It's just, yeah. Interesting take. Yeah. I haven't heard it said this way. I've heard stop participating, but I haven't heard to participate. But again, I don't think you can ever vote your way out of these problems.
Number two, most governments fail because they are built on self-interests, not virtue, not honor. And finally, of course, number three, the best society is one where citizens are educated, responsible, and free to react.
People say this, but what do you mean by educated? What do you mean by responsible? What do you mean by free to reason? Our entire education system is based off the Prussian model that was created so that the Prussian soldiers would stop firing and intentionally missing their enemies. And it's like it's just to promote nationalism and make you a good worker, not make you a good individual. And I think the entire idea of education is so far off base now, and perhaps that's why I didn't do good in education. It's
Every
definitely the reason,
fucking
but
day.
Those times are over. We live in grim times now.
But there is always hope.
Where?
Book 3, The Gospel of Thomas.
Isn't that a bad Bible book?
this is known as the Gnostic gospel. Um, the Gospel of Thomas is like a lot of people don't recognize it. I haven't read it personally. I don't know enough about it. Um, Gnostic's also a catch-all term, so it doesn't really mean anything. Okay, so very broadly, the definition of Gnosticism I would give you guys is that, how do I even say this? That Jesus isn't like a physical embodiment of man. It's a intellectual, it's an emotional, it's a spiritual. And the more knowledge you have, the more experience you have of uh, life and higher ideals and art and spiritual experiences, the closer you are to God. So when you meditate, when you pray, when you get to a high state of emotion that is experiencing God, that's experiencing reality. I don't really believe it. There's elements to everything, so there's elements I agree with, but the problem with Gnosticism, like what I just said, sounds not that bad. But then when you look into like the Templars influencing, or the Gnostics influencing the Templars and all the weird rituals that were going on, then it just gets like into weird territory. But We also just get into this like left hand, right hand path discussion is like you have the black magicians and the white magicians, and it, I'm going too far into details that don't matter.
The Gospel of Thomas is a list of 114 secret sayings of Jesus. He says, God is a spark inside your own consciousness, not a power found in the church. It was banned in 367 AD by Athanasius of Alexandria. It spiritually made the church hierarchy and its priests completely unnecessary.
What are the three main points?
Number one, the kingdom of God is within you.
That's in the actual Bible, pretty sure. If it's not, wait, hold on, let me, because it's cited in all like the New Age thought stuff. No, it's in Luke too. Okay, so I was gonna say that like because a lot of there's a lot of books that cite that quote with a lot of different subjects, and if it was in the Gospel of Thomas, I would be like, well, that kind of validates it because it's not accepted really.
God speaks to you directly, not through priests, rituals, churches, or systems. Number two, claim your truth. Knowledge isn't handed down. You fight for it, think for it, own it. And finally, of course, number three, awaken or stay trapped. Blind obedience.
So think that's very similar to any of the esoteric schools, whether it's Theosophy, Anthroposophy, I think that's what it's called, the Fourth Way, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian. Like it, there's a lot. Like I don't know if Gnostics are the first to say these things. Actually, no, it's the old Atlantean mystery schools, but that's
Is the first cage.
it's a different
Question,
story.
act, see, be honorable.
Okay, so that was a good video. Now we're gonna get into Eckhart Tolle, but I'm gonna take a break real quick. I'll be back in like a minute. Okay, I'm back. So if you don't know Eckhart Tolle, he very famously came out with this book, The Power of Now, which really you can get everything you need from the title. That if you live in the now, that's all you're looking for. And again, it's like any simple idea, it's complex in application. Like the simplest advice takes years and years and years of dedication to even begin to grasp and then apply. But the more you can focus on what you're doing right now and the less you can worry about things that you can't fix right now, the better your life will be. That simple.
They engage in this spiritual practice is good, meditation is good. The danger is when you meditate, is quite many of you probably have a meditation practice and it's wonderful, but what prevents the meditation practice from really being deeply effective is at the back of your mind the idea, the assumption.
All right, so before he gets into this, you don't need to meditate to meditate. You don't have to consciously meditate. You can go on a long walk throughout your neighborhood. You can, there's there's like millions of different meditative practices. What I want you to focus more on is like how can you center yourself? How can you reduce the thoughts in your mind? How can you focus and remove all external stimulus in your life? I think that is really what we should aim for. So prayer can be seen as meditation because you're focused on set ideas. That's maybe that's a controversial thing to say, but I don't think there's really a difference between prayer and meditation. Um, Maybe in the desired result, but it's a very similar practice. Other ones I like are, simply just walking away from something, doing something mundane. I'm working on a project and, I can't seem to make any room and I really can't figure out what I'm trying to figure out. And I go do the dishes. I go do laundry. I do anything except what I was doing. And then when I return, I have a new perspective. I see it differently. I broke the cycle of why can't I figure this out? Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I figure this out going on in my head? And because of that, I was able to figure it out. It's it's just really simple stuff like that that I want you to focus on. I think people get this grand idea of meditation and all these sorts of things. Meditation is just regaining your focus, regaining your attention. Just think of it that way.
That
What he's gonna say though is when people meditate, they meditate for the sake of meditating. They meditate because they're trying to do something where true meditation is natural, something that just occurs. It's something that you just ease into. Whereas if I try to meditate right now and I'm consciously focused on I need to calm my head down, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'll never be able to get to a peaceful state because I'm forcing something. The entire emphasis of meditation is stop forcing things. Stop trying to control the world. If you keep repeating that idea in your head, it will immediately give you a state of
you
meditation.
are doing a meditation. I'm now going to do my meditation. I have got 30 minutes, and after that, I have to do my emails. But first, I'll do the meditation.
See, you're putting pressure on it. You're putting some sort of desired outcome from it. But truth is, there's not really, it's not really going to work that way.
Okay, I'm done for today. In a very subtle way, you're giving time. You're giving yourself time. You don't. What is real meditation? Real meditation is the realization of being. You
The realization of being. What does that mean? It's just presence. It's just awareness. It's it's noticing the little details that you didn't notice before. It's being in the moment and only being in the moment. You're sitting around the dinner table with your family and you're not worried about your bills. You're not worried about this. You're not worried about that. What you're worried about is the moment. You're in the moment. You're present. There's no external thoughts. There's nothing coming in. It's just pure enjoyment. Your head is empty.
you can't get there by doing, because doing already implies time. To do anything, you need time. Doing and time go together. On the surface reality, of course, that has its place. On the surface of reality, you need to do things. And you need
I'm shocked he said that. I don't think you need to do anything. I'm actually very shocked he said that
time. We needed time to come together here without
Because like putting a necessity on something, like you should do things, but saying you need to do things, that's not there's not really a responsibility to do anything. And that's the beauty of life is that you can be a loser. You could absolutely do nothing in your life and you are just as valuable as everyone else. Like that's I I don't know why you put necessity, but I'm just nitpicking at this point.
Time, it would have taken a million or more years to come together here accidentally, a random coming together of people in this. We would have to wait a long time for this to happen, if at all. Probably not, would never happen. We needed time, surface reality. Time has its place, it's practical. You deal with the surface. But to realize who or what you are, essentially, at a deeper level, to awaken spiritually, time is the hindrance. So when you
Again, you're putting an emphasis on I'm meditating. I have 10 minutes here, so I'm going to do this. I have this little gap here so that I'm going to retreat and open my higher faculties. But the truth is, like these things can't really be forced, and it's something I try to say all the time. Stop worrying about the results. Do it for how much you enjoy it. Do it for how it's going to make you feel. Don't do it for any means. If I try to meditate and I say, I'm freaking out, I can't calm down, well, I'm not going to be able to meditate. Maybe after 10 minutes, maybe after 15 minutes, but it won't be as easily as I'm going to enter into a meditative state right now. Like I could probably do it in 5 seconds on stream right now if I just took a few conscious breaths. But it's understanding this idea that we have to stop putting such emphasis on the end result. Why are you meditating? Why are you doing this thing? Why is it something that you want to do? What feeling are you hoping to evoke from this? Instead of, I want to meditate because I want to clear my head so I could do this task and do this task and do this task. That's never going to work. You're never going to get to that state for that reason.
meditate, don't do a meditation. Be completely present. Meditation is the realization of what is already within you as your essence, which had been obscured by mental and emotional noise and turbulence. It's always been there. Potential has always been there. So when you meditate, be absolutely present. And sometimes people need to meditate for a few years.
Okay, so you may be able to do it right away, but it's like anything, it's like a skill. The better you get at meditating, the easier it is. Like it genuinely, it can take me maybe 20 seconds to get into like a deep meditation. Whereas 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when I first started kind of playing around with these ideas and playing around with these practices, it might take me an hour to get to the same state. And it's just a matter of it's like reading a book. The more you read, the easier it is to read. The more information you have to pull from, the more words you know, the more experience you are with certain ideas. When you see them, you can pick them up and you can say, well, this is difficult, but it's just like this, so I can kind of understand it through this idea. It's that. The more experience you have with it, the easier it is. And I think that's the other thing about it. It's like you're not really going to be good at it for a very long time. I'm still not even good at it. You compare me to the yogis that are in the mountains somewhere in India, and yeah, I'm a complete novice. I'm a complete beginner. I might be considered well beyond the average person, but that's not really saying much because people haven't spent time with these things, and it's just you just have to play around with these things. You have to do it for the experience because the real secret to me, the thing that made me realize the importance of meditation and help me with meditation is stop trying to control the world. I saw this quote somewhere, something along the lines of meditation is understanding that you don't have to control the world. And immediately it clicked. Immediately it was like my entire life I've tried to control everything around me. And the more you try to control around you, the more things are going to slip out of your hand. But if you allow things to be, if you allow things to occur, if you allow things to happen, and you just run with that idea, then you're going to get to such a level of awareness and such a level of consciousness simply for the fact that you're not diminishing your own attention by worrying about this, by worrying about that, by focusing on this. Like your attention is your currency. You're literally making YouTube, not even me. I'm making like 2 cents off this, but you're literally making YouTube money right now through spending your attention on this stream. That could be for good or bad. Maybe you don't like me, maybe you don't think this is worth it. But like, not saying it's necessarily bad, but like if you're learning something, by all means. But if you're not, then I'm sorry, I should be doing better. But your attention is the most valuable thing you have because you could spend it on a job, you could spend it creating something, you could spend it doing something, but we give it so freely away for things that don't matter. Think of how many times you've worried about problems that don't even exist. Think about how many times you were so anxious about having a certain conversation, then you had that conversation and it was super easy and you realized you worried to an extreme degree for absolutely nothing. It's a very if you've experienced what I'm saying, then you know exactly what I'm saying. But if you haven't gone through what I'm going through, if you don't overthink, then this might be foreign to you.
10 years, 15, 20, some people, or many people, need time to realize that they don't need time. That's interesting. You need time to realize that you don't.
So he's assigning stress to time. Think of it stress when you have time, when you have a schedule, then you have things to do. And the less you think about that, the easier it is to become more aware.
Need it at all. That even the Buddha had to go through that. He was a spiritual seeker, the story goes. So he for several years he underwent all kinds of extreme spiritual practices, and he became very good at every spiritual practice. And he became so good at every spiritual practice, including extreme fasting and austerities and all kinds of things. He became so good that people admired him, and he had more and more disciples. He says, "Wow, he's so good at it." And he could meditate, and he attracted this. But then the Buddha realized at some point that's not it, because he was still using time. That's not it. And at some point he gave up all his spiritual practices, and he sat under the famous tree, and he sat under the tree and said, "This is it."
There's an interesting point that he's making as well, is that we try to overcomplicate these things. We think of meditation, we think of sitting in a lotus position. I don't meditate in that way. It doesn't have to be anything aside from a noticing of your thoughts, a noticing of where your thoughts are going to, an awareness of, I'm doing this thing I said I wouldn't do, an understanding and a recognition of your breathing and thinking about your breathing and controlling your breathing. Like those are all meditation, you could say. And it's like we overcomplicate things for the sake of overcomplicating them and marketing them and saying, I know the one true way, my method's the best method. But there's no one way to enlightenment. It's like the Zen Buddhists say, if you see Buddha on the road, kill him. Meaning what got Buddha to the state of enlightenment might not get you to enlightenment. And don't have an idol. Don't have an example. Don't have something to define how you're meant to live your life.
And the disciples were very disappointed. Most of them left him, and they said, "He lost it. He's gone." And then all doing came to an end, and there was simply the extreme, deepest realization of being.
The sound effects are the best part of this video.
Past and future. Personality, surface, I. And then a few people came and said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Buddha, I'm awake. No particular person, just a state of being awake." Wow. But so the question that sometimes people ask, why didn't he realize it before he
And the interesting part of what he's saying is that you already have what you're looking for. That's the realization. That's enlightenment. It's being able to accept that fact, self-acceptance, dissolving the self. Think of Jungian individuation, that sort of idea.
undertook all these difficult spiritual practices? Why couldn't he have done it before? Couldn't he have realized it at the beginning? Apparently not. So some people need time to reach that point, and others come to that realization.
Okay, pretty good video. I can probably do another short video, so we'll go in this channel again. I mean, overall, it's pretty good advice. Again, it's just I don't know if Eckhart Tolle claims to be this enlightened master. I don't really think he is. If he does, but like it's like anything. I'd rather read Gurdjieff. I'd rather read. He does say beneficial things. It just doesn't resonate with me as much as the people I've been studying recently do. Steiner, Gurdjieff, Spensky, Blavatsky, those types of people. See if I can find a good one. All right.
How much time do we have?
Till that suka comes out, maybe 3 minutes.
All this waiting.
Aren't you getting too old for this?
We are all getting too old.
Have you read this book?
Here we go again.
Just give me 3 minutes. Name of the book is The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Oh, wait, I need to add this book to it. This seems like exactly something I wanna read. So let me just add it to my cart real quick. The top five. Sounds like a very good book. Okay.
Yeah, written by a palliative nurse who spent years with patients in their final weeks of their lives.
That's like honestly, it's really impressive to me that people can do stuff like that. I don't have the heart for it. I feel like if I see somebody in pain, it makes me in pain as well. I don't know how to say it aside from that. And it's man, there's some brave people in this world.
Remember when you said, if you want to understand life, you have to see the people who are dying.
If you really want to know what life is about, you have to see the people who are dying.
She did that. What do you think the top 5 regrets of the dying are?
People are slaves.
Yeah. First one is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself.
I feel like I've been saying this for years at this point, but there's a whole lot of people that live and die never even knowing. And what I mean by that is there's people that had dreams, had goals, had things they wanted to do, but were too afraid to even try and only realized when it was too late that it was too late.
Not what others or society expected of me.
Society.
Number two is surprising. I wish I hadn't worked so hard.
Only at the end of their life, the white-collar slaves realize that they have wasted their time.
And there's a necessity to work, but there's also a fine line of, missing every moment of your child's life to provide a better life for that child. But a better life would be one where you were more in it. And there's certain gives and takes, there's certain sacrifices that you made that you could have maybe taken a little less of a sacrifice to be more present. There's again, I don't think you're ever going to make it perfect, but just having a healthy balance, it's always the middle path. It's always not being too far to one extreme that's going to be the right
time.
guidance.
Worked hard on nothing.
Number three, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings.
Slaves again.
Number four, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends.
Bratva.
There's yeah, there's something to like people when they get old, they just don't have friends anymore. And it's weird to me. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll be different when I'm older. Maybe I'll just be a complete hermit, which I 100% seeing. My friends will be Dante, Blake, and Khalil Gibran, but I'm also a weird character, so
Number five, I wish I had let myself be happier.
None of the regrets are about money or fame.
I wish I let myself be happier is a really interesting one. Just think about it, we don't allow ourselves to be happy. I have this weird thing where if somebody compliments me, I have to immediately bring it down. And it's like, why don't I let myself get a compliment? Why do I need to break myself down when somebody's trying to build me up? Why do I feel this need to not celebrate my wins as much as I should? You should think about the good things just as much as the bad, if not more. Why do we dwell so much on what we don't have instead of what we do have?
Fame or status. They are all about the soul. The soul was stolen.
Yeah, and all the regrets are about chasing not the big things, but missing out on the little things. Big things.
Maybe they are all about getting fooled every fucking day.
What do you mean?
The system, the people up top have a weird obsession. They like controlling the masses. That's why they have built the system, the Suki system.
If you keep everyone afraid, then you'll keep everyone in line. That's really, I mean, the number one tool of the devil is fear. And always remember that if you're afraid of something, then you're giving the devil exactly what he wants.
But the system can only control you if you chase the material.
So what do you mean by material?
Cars, houses, gold, status, materialism. But humans don't need the material. Humans need the immaterial to be happy. Good value.
No amount of money, no car, no house above your basic means is going to make you happy. And if we could understand that, then we could all live a good life, live a good existence. But most of us won't get that, myself included at moments. And yeah, that's why so many people fail to be happy. But it's a simple life that's a good life and a happy one. The more you try to overcomplicate things, the more things you try to get, the more these things will own you, the more these things will attach to you and attach to your soul and weigh you down.
Values, good people, purpose, depth. The Suki system brainwashed you every day that you forgot that. That's why, number one, you work too hard. That's why you don't express your feelings, but repeat the bullshit you hear on the news or in advertisements. That's why you don't stay in touch with your friends, because you move around in your busy life trying to make money. That's why you don't let
Worrying about the things that don't matter instead of the things that do. When was the last time you told the people in your life you love them? When was the last time that you handled all your responsibilities at work? I guarantee you did that yesterday, but you didn't do the more important thing. And that's really the point of this video.
let yourself be happier, because the material system only works if you are unhappy. Only when you have this dark hole inside your chest that you try to fill with material possession and status symbols your whole life. And then you die and realize, I have been tricked, Suka. You need to be unhappy for the machine, the matrix, the Suki system to run.
Let me ask you something.
Think of all of like the selling of the dreams, like the lottery and all those things. Like I went into a convenience store and it was so sad. I saw this lady, I don't know how old she was, but she was like old to me. I don't know if that means anything, but she was like ripping off scratch offs and she didn't win any. And she's like, "Can I have one more?" And I was like, eh. It's just like I didn't like say anything. It just like it kind of broke my heart. It really did. Like it's just something so it's like the old folks that go to Atlantic City and just smash on the slot machines and just piss away their entire Social Security check. I wonder if there's like a statistic. What is it supposed to be about? The stream or what? Or this? What are you talking about? I wonder if there's a statistic of how much money that the government has indirectly given to the casinos through Social Security checks being gambled by senior citizens. We should keep that. We should keep that statistic. Like so how somebody has the debt calculator. I want the Social Security to the casino calculator.
Are you happy or unhappy?
I am happy every fucking day.
Why are you still here? Why are you still doing all this?
Because the candle needs the darkness to burn bright.
Maybe the machine can't kill a man who's already died inside and came back smiling.
There's this saying, I wish I knew who said it. There's this really famous saying, every man has two deaths. The first occurs when he realizes he's gonna die. And you can play that off. That idea he was just saying is that he realized his mortality, and because of that, he made the corrections and he made his life something that's well worth living. Um, we could also bring this to Nietzsche as well, the eternal recurrence. Your life is destined to repeat. You have a responsibility to that repetition that you're going to make the most of your circumstances because if you don't, you're destined to live the same path time and time again. And isn't that a terrible thought?
Honor will come.
All right. I think I'm gonna end the stream now because I got some stuff I gotta do, but nice fun stream. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.